Last week in one of my videos, I mentioned that I had something a little bit different here I wanted to show you, and here it is. One thing I find very interesting about this is the amount of power that they have, and you might be surprised about what options are available. It has two wheels. It has a hub motor, like many electric bikes. It has a battery. It's got a rear rack even with a bag on there. It's got a front fender, suspension fork, stem, handlebars. For all intents and purposes, this might look like an electric bike, except for two things. It doesn't have any pedals. It doesn't have a seat, although there is an option for that. The first question you have to ask yourself is really, what is this? I had a good conversation with Chris, the creator of the Glide Cycle.
Good morning. Tell us a little bit about this beauty right here.
So we do a line of electric drive stand-up cycles. So you notice no pedals, no seat, and we do high quality frame construction.
And he gave me some good insight about how he came up with this idea. When you think about water sports or skiing sports, whether it's snowboarding or wakeboarding, you have this certain type of movement where you can just glide back and forth. And he wanted to recreate that, and that's what this is all about. Let me show you how this works. Flip the battery switch on, turn on via the key fob, and now push the throttle. Now this really is an interesting riding experience. It's not like any e-bike I've ever ridden because it's not an e-bike. Now, some people I know might look at this and think it looks like a scooter, but I'm here to tell you that this is not a scooter. Scooters typically have small wheels, they're not as stable, they don't do well on rough terrain like gravel, but this handles it really well. As you may have noticed in some of those clips, there were some speed bumps, and basically I was able to hit those at full speed with this. So the main thing that you get out of the Glide Cycle is the experience. Imagine wakeboarding, imagine snowboarding, but being able to do that on the street. That's kind of what this is all about. Now, I have to admit that I am not a snowboarder, I'm not a skateboarder, I'm not a skier. I've done a little bit of some of those things. But I'm not an expert at any of those. And I was almost a little bit nervous about trying this for the first time, but it's super easy to use. You just step on it, twist the throttle, and go. It feels very, very natural. There's a big wide deck with grip tape like you'd see on a skateboard. This has by far the lowest step over of any sort of e-bike thing I've ever tested. I mean, it's ridiculous how easy it is to actually, that's it. Often I have had people come in looking for e-bikes, but they want something that has an extremely low step over height. And they're not necessarily looking for exercise or pedaling as much, because sometimes the reason they're looking for a low step over is because they can't bend their knees that far. Maybe they can't even complete the pedaling motion. But something like this works really well for that. This is something you could put behind your RV or your motor home, or you could run to town with, just like an electric bicycle, but it's much easier to get on and off. This is designed to be a stand-up cycle, like a stand-up paddleboard or any of those other things that I mentioned. But there is actually an option to have a seat mounted towards the back here. So if you want something where you can actually sit down on occasion as well, that is an option. This particular model is called the F1 Raptor. No relation or correlation to the Raptor model from Bolton e-bikes, purely a coincidence. But this is one of the actually lower power models at 1,000 watts. So yes, this is a direct drive 1,000 watt hub motor. And it's pretty fast. With something like this, you can very easily cruise up and down the street at speeds close to 30 miles an hour, and it also has a decent amount of torque for getting up hills. You can also go up to 2,000 watts, and if you really want to get crazy, you can go up to a 72 volt system with a 3,000 watt motor. That is a lot of power. You've got a standard bicycle suspension fork, hydraulic brakes. This one has fenders for the front, and then the rear fender is kind of just part of the frame design. Fat tires are an option for these as well. There's a switch right here, which is to turn on the awesome blue accent lighting. So that's pretty cool. It kind of lights up the logo along the side here. This particular battery is a 48 volt, 18 amp hour, and they go up in capacity and voltage for those higher power models that I mentioned. Rear rack is integrated into the frame, so you can have a bag mounted on the back to carry things. It's totally out of the way. You're not having to swing your leg over it like you would a bicycle, because there's just so much room to step over right in the middle here. Very nice bright headlight on the front of the bike. Some of you might be thinking that, hey, you've piqued my interest a little bit. This is kind of cool. You know, how much is it? The price of something like the Raptor here is about $39.50, so just under $4,000. I think it's important at this point in time to stress, what is the quality like? Where is this thing made? This is not an off-the-shelf frame made from some other scooter or device. It's not made in China. This frame is made out of aluminum. These rectangular tubes here are custom formed and designed specifically for this frame. There is nothing off the shelf about this at all. And the cool thing about this is that these frames are handmade here in California, that I am told is designed to withstand a weight capacity of 650 pounds. So again, on the price points, they're gonna range from about $28.50 for a base model. Even the lowest model that is offered has that 1,000 watt motor. And you can go up above the $6,000 range if you're going with something that's, 3,000 watts, 72 volts, and all of the possible options. I'd love to answer more of your questions, so I'm gonna do that tomorrow by doing a live Q&A session here on YouTube. I'll put a link down. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this right now. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the stand-up cycle and the whole concept of this type of electric vehicle. One thing I've noticed on the live videos that we've started doing recently is that the chat can go absolutely crazy. To be honest, sometimes it's hard for me to keep up with everything that's going on. So both to keep up and also eliminate any spam or just junk things going on in the chat, we are changing the chat function to be for members only. If you want to support the channel and the live videos where we can do more reviews on products like this, then you can hit that join button down below. If you only want to access the live chat function, it's only 99 cents a month. That's literally the cheapest option that YouTube will let me do. The Glide Cycle is not the first thing I've reviewed on my channel or showed off that has 2 wheels and no pedals. I've also done a video about the UBCO 2x2. If you're interested in other types of electric vehicles that don't always have pedals, I highly recommend checking that video out right over here.